What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of The Real Junkies. Yes, the name has changed. I'm your host, Farhan, here again with my man Vito. And today we are reviewing Novocaine, recent release, starring Jack Quaid, who many of you probably know from The Boys, really popular TV show. And he's kind of, shown a little bit of his ability to produce in action in that show, but not really as a leading man per se.
Yeah,
So I feel like this is really his opportunity to do that and kind of showcase that in a pretty creative way. I mean, the film follows this guy works as a banker. He has this woman who he likes at his job and is kind of starting to shoot his shot a little bit. Finally, starting to come out of his shell. You can tell he's very socially secluded. I'll use that phrasing. And part of the reason is because he has SEPA, which
yeah, that's
essentially
good.
means he can't feel pain. Which I don't want to jump too far ahead. I kind of want to focus just on that right now. I think that is a fantastic and very creative way to take a character who has no business being an action hero and turning him into an action hero. Because I feel like most regular people in this situation, right? Obviously, the girl who you like is in danger, which is the
Yeah,
the plot of this whole film, right? And we'll get into the details of that later. But that in of itself is a motivating factor. But most people are self aware enough to know, like, oh, I don't necessarily have the skill set to go and save her. Whereas this person, that and I have the fear of like pain and potentially getting killed. This person just doesn't have that. Like that fear doesn't exist with him because he can't feel pain. So he dives into a lot of situations kind of head first and kind of without that like
without
fear
thinking
or just
about it a
concern.
lot.
Yeah, really without thinking or having like any concern for his well being. He has a very like Daredevil esque fight style where it's like he has no problem injuring himself to win. And you kind of see that throughout the course of this film, which I thought a very, very creative way to kind of approach an action film in that way, especially when you're dealing with a character who isn't a good fighter. Like he has no fighting experience. This isn't like an ex CIA agent or anybody who has any business knowing how to fight. He just can't feel pain and uses that to his advantage to be able to do things that his opponents just simply can't do, which I thought was pretty creative. But I'll let you go ahead and give some of your initial thoughts on Novocaine.
So we already know how I do. I give a rate before I give a rate after. I am going to give it a. It's not high. It's
Hmm.
not high. I was reading some other reviews and I seen somebody say um, we've had a rash of movies that are good but not great, and that's what this was. It was a good
Mm-hmm.
movie. It was honestly, some of the things took me out of it. So you mentioned, him not being able to feel pain is one of the things that prompted him to just go do things
Yeah.
without hesitation. A lot of times,
Yeah.
um, it started with hesitation, but then as it went on, he got a little more brazen with it. Um, but so I'm gonna say 6.5 right now. I'm gonna start it with a 6.5. I really wanted to go 6, but it's not a bad movie. I just feel like they did not. They had a good concept. They had a good premise. I don't think it was delivered well. It's supposed to be an action comedy, and it was really lacking on the comedy. The action was there, but the
Mm-hmm.
comedy was almost non-existent. Um, when you say he jumped into things, one of the biggest things that it was a lot of things that he just didn't do in his regular everyday life. He didn't chew solid. He didn't eat solid foods. Um, he drove the speed limit, if not under the speed limit. He's driving so far behind people, and again, there's nothing wrong with being cautious, but he was so cautious. It was like, again, this is a movie, but it was so over exaggerated that
Yeah.
it became ridiculous for a lot of the things. Like he burned his hand, and like, good, go ahead, go put some fucking shit on your hand, clean it up, and then you stop because she walks in. It's like, dude, the way you're living, people are going to find out. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what's going on. You're not, so. I felt like it was really predictable to me. Like, I'm gonna jump ahead a bit. what was the girlfriend's name? Sherry. It was it Sherry or Cherry?
Yeah, Sherry.
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 I knew
Mm-hmm.
immediately what. Like, I mean, when they took her out of the bank, I already knew. And we haven't said it yet. Spoilers. So if
I
you
already know what you're
haven't
about to
seen
say.
the movie, if you haven't seen the movie, do not go any further than this. It's gonna be some spoilers. Everything he said, is pretty much in a trailer.
Yeah.
All right. So when they took Sherry out of the bank and they put her in the car, I was like, oh yeah, she in on this shit. She's in on this. Um, they moved too quickly on everything. Again,
Mm-hmm.
it took a long ass time for them to even get to the part where the bank was robbed.
Mm-hmm.
So the pacing, to me, the pacing was bad. It took a long ass time to get up to the point where they was robbing the bank, and we're figuring out he don't even know this fucking girl.
Not
You
for
feel me?
real. They
He
haven't
don't.
been. Yeah, they haven't known each
He,
other that long.
she been working at the bank 4 months. He don't even really talk to her, and then what happens. They get up, they get together, hook up, blah blah blah, and then the next day you ready to die for this motherfucker? Oh no!
Literally.
Now again, we know he's a virgin. Honestly, I don't even know because I just assumed it. He never mentioned it, did he? He just say like he was really
He
sheltered as a
hinted at
boy.
it. He hinted at it because
Yeah.
if you remember, like it was like their first or second date. He went on with Sherry, and then he took her back to his place. He like he ran into, I guess, some bullies from middle school or high school,
Mm-hmm,
and they
mm-hmm.
like played that little prank on him, whatever. So then after that, they went back to his place. I think she asked him like, "Since you can't feel pain, can you feel
Can you feel
pleasure?" And he was like,
pleasure?
"I think so," or whatever. It was
Oh,
like
right, right, right. Yep,
he
yep, yep.
implied that like he wasn't sure.
He wasn't sure of it.
Yeah.
So
So
whatever, but like to be my man's like he went all in. So like I said, the pacing was off because again she had been working at the bank for 4 months, and then this happens, and
yeah.
immediately this the next day, and you like fuck it, I'm about to go get her back. I'm about to die for this, die for this, die for this. It was a lot of things in the movie that were. I know they say like it was during Christmas time, so it wasn't a lot of cops working,
Hmm.
but two cops got killed.
Yeah,
A
this
third cop
movie
got shot up.
more than two got killed. Actually, that opening shootout when they're leaving the bank, they took out at least three or four.
Oh, because it was two cops in the second car, right?
Yeah, it was
So
there was a
so they
second car
killed
that pulled up, and
they
both of them
killed
got
three cops and then they injured the other one.
injured. The other one, you're right. One of them
He
survived.
helped save the other cop. Now this is only important because then they go, "Hey, backup's 8 minutes out." You
Yeah,
know, all right, whatever. Maybe other side of town, other side. I don't know how their department runs, but then every other time police are involved, it's just the two detectives.
hmm
Like they like, okay, shit, we got his location. Let's go to this house where he at. They come outside. It's only two of them. You're supposed to be surrounding a house. It's two of y'all from somebody that's armed and dangerous that you think of. Then the ending again. Two fucking cops show up to apprehend. Again, these are cop killers, bro. I don't care how many cops were working, how many cops
shameless
were,
cop killers. Like they just started spraying in broad
bro.
daylight.
They cops were gonna be. Hey, I gotta go, baby. We
Yeah,
they just killed three fucking cops, and we know where they at. They're not about to let man.
two
They
detectives go. No, you that I will say that was a thing that stuck out to me was the lack of response from the police force after three officers get gunned down in broad daylight. There was definitely like a lack of a normal response to that in this film. I feel like this film kind of brushed over that. It was like, yeah, some cops got killed, but
so
we're just gonna move forward with this guy that can't feel pain and
it was
focus on
just
that.
it was a lot of things in the movie that I felt were, and I'm mad that I can't think of the word that I want to use, and the only thing I'm just say cartoony, like it was so exaggerated
Yeah,
that
that's
you
a good
like,
word for it.
okay, this is why they're doing it. And even him, like I said, he was hesitant at first, but then he's just jumping into it, like just doing dumb
Yeah,
shit. And it's
yeah,
like, okay, he still knows that he can be hurt. You know,
Yeah.
you don't feel it, but you're hurt.
Yeah.
And that was his biggest thing. I don't chew solid foods because I might bite my tongue off. Sir, you still know your tongue is at. And then like you don't think you're gonna see the blood? Like so it was just, and
To
again
your
that
point though, it was like, to your point, which is you brought it up, and it's really sticking out to me now because it wasn't something that really crossed my mind while I was watching the movie because I was just trying to like take in everything I was seeing. But you've mentioned it enough times that it's really starting to like kind of stick with me now. Like, you were so cautious with your disease that you
mm-hmm,
didn't eat solid foods to stop from biting
mm-hmm.
your tongue. However, you're more than willing to chase down three people who you just watch mow down police officers in broad daylight by yourself. You're about to go after these people by yourself. The same person who's too cautious to eat solid foods because he's gonna bite his tongue off. I
And
just that was really sticking with me as you were speaking. I ain't gonna
and
lie.
let's be honest, he probably had a concussion during this whole thing because her brother was whatever the fuck his name was, Simon, Sam, I don't fucking know. He was beating the shit out of him, to get him to open
The
the
dog
safe.
shit out of him.
So
Simon was his name. Yeah, he
so
beating the
it
dog shit out of him in that bank.
so like I said, it's the continuity of it. Then they break out like, hey, I think this guy he was in the military. Did you serve with him in the Marines? Blah blah blah, something like that. They get the brother meets up with him, and I'm telling this story all out of whack because these are things that like were pissing me off during during the movie as I'm watching it. He goes, oh, back when I was special forces and this, and I'm like, okay, you're special forces, got it, you got a bad run on, but then he's just doing shit. There's no rhyme or reason, which the reason was to torture him,
Yeah.
but that's it. He just leaves it at that, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this for my pleasure. And you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why they brought up the military service because they don't say what they did. He's just like, oh, I was special forces. I interrogated people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, it was a lot of things, but again, the pacing and the lack of comedy in the movie, because it was billed as a action comedy.
Yeah.
The action was there. The action was there. Even it was three or four action parts. It was there, and it was shit. It got graphic sometimes,
Yeah. It
but
delivered. It definitely delivered.
the timing might have been my biggest issue because again,
Mm-hmm.
she's been here 4 months, and she decides that she's going to try and get the vault code or key the day before we rob the bank.
It wasn't a sound strategy.
It was
You're
not a sound strategy. They could have. I mean, again,
Well,
why?
because if you remember, her original plan, because they had there was a conversation between her and Simon. It was like maybe towards the second half, like the back end of the second act, or like the beginning of the third act. They had that conversation. Simon told her like, if you had just gotten the bank codes from like the manager, the head guy, we wouldn't have even been in this situation. So I guess that was Plan A, was for her to get the code from like the branch manager, and then I
You sure
guess
it's the man? I thought they were talking
I think
about him at the time.
Simon. I thought Simon was like Plan B,
No,
if I'm remembering correctly. Because I remember, like, you remember that was the first person they went to
I
before they even
think
went to
they went to the
Simon. They
manager
asked
first,
they asked the manager first,
but she didn't
or
she
before
didn't
they even
pursue
went to. I
him.
keep calling him Simon. Before they went
Yeah, I
to
got
Nate.
you.
Yeah, Jack Quaid's character. Before Simon went over to Nate, like that was the like the branch manager was Plan A. I guess that was the initial person they went to. So, but I mean, to your point though, either way, it's a flawed plan
It was very
because
flawed.
now you're aware you're moving into Plan B. Now that Nate's the target, you need to give yourself enough time to get the information you need. You don't have the code yet.
Cause she ain't say shit. Again, she ain't ask him about when he's coming to work. She didn't
Uh-huh.
ask him. She asked him absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
She left him a note saying Sherry, live power, whatever, John. And again, this nigga had the simplest of fucking endings, bro. So you find out that you were a mark,
From the
and
start.
from the start, nigga, she ain't like you. Like, she's been there 4 fucking months, and this is the first time she's really speaking to you. And they don't tell us that, but you can kind of infer it by the fact that how nervous he is when she's speaking to him. The
Yeah,
fact that she knows nothing about him. So again, um, I'm sure it's gonna be other shit that I'm gonna pick up while you're speaking, and I'm gonna
yeah,
gripe on that. But again, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I did think sometimes I thought I don't want to say violence was graphic, but some of the parts where I'm like, okay, they
yeah.
going overboard with this one. Like when he broke his fucking hand, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah, it was
and
some graphic like injuries he gave to himself. That's why I was saying like that they were very creative in the way they utilized the
yeah,
fact the character couldn't feel pain, and it made the fight scenes more believable. Right? It wasn't like he was going
he
in
was fucking niggas
and
up.
was like, yeah, like he wasn't winning a lot of these fights. He won these fights because he could do things the people fighting
Niggas can't
against him
do.
just simply couldn't do because he can't feel pain. So, oh, I can reach my hand into this boiling grease to grab this gun and shoot you. Or, you know what I'm saying? I
Hey,
can.
hold on. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of looked away at that. I'm like,
I was like, whoa, 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 hold on. What the fuck are you doing,
this
man?
nigga head came out. I'm like, yo.
Whoa. No, when they showed the hand when it came out, I'm like, yeah, you didn't. That's a close up I didn't need for
Yeah,
real. Like, I got the
not at
point.
all.
I get it. Like, I get the point. He can't feel it. I didn't need to see it personally. I was perfectly fine not having that visual.
Didn't need it.
Yeah, didn't need it at all. But I liked utilizing situations like that to creatively like insert into action scenes here and there. Because to your point, they got the action in this film very like they
Mm-hmm.
executed it very well. I thought that was one of the main things they executed very well in this film was the action scenes and how the action scenes played out with his condition and how they utilized that to say, all right, well, how does a person with no fighting experience who's a career banker and is a kind of a socially awkward buttoned all the way up to the top kind of guy, how do you get that person to be a believable action hero?
One
Make
additional thing to that.
Go ahead.
I feel like the whole special forces military thing was unnecessary. I think it would have been better
From
if these
from one of the robbers, you're saying?
from the
Yeah,
robbers, because
yeah,
they were supposed to be served together,
yeah,
and I think even though he couldn't feel pain, he could still be he like I said he feels some pressure, but again, if you get punched in the face, I don't care who you are, you feel it or not. And you get punched in your eye, it's gonna close up a little bit.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna close up at least while the fist is there. You can't
yeah,
see shit. So
yeah.
we're talking about people, these supposedly special forces guys that know how to fight, which they show. They know how to use guns and all this bullshit. And I felt like he was still winning those fights a little too easy for
I
his
get what you're
skill
saying.
set. So if it
Yeah.
was like some
Well,
regular, if it was just some dudes that was like, yo, we about to go rob this bank
yeah.
and some shit. I would it would have been more. Again, this is just more to the point where things were just over the top and cartoony to me.
So here's the thing, yes and no, because he was getting his ass whooped in a lot of those fights. Like the
I'm
fight
not
in
even gonna say a
the
lot of them. I'm gonna say all
all of them.
of
Like
them.
so, literally after the bank robbery happens, they kidnap Sherry. He goes on a chase against them, whatever, and then he tracks one of them down because they split up
He follows him in
during
the
during
car.
the during the chase was because he steals a police car, the police officer that got injured. He steals the police car, goes to chase after the robbers by himself. And then they split up. He follows the wrong car and gets the one robber by himself, and they get into that fight scene in the kitchen. At no point during that fight did he have the upper hand.
So this is my thing
You
though.
know what I'm saying? So to me, it was believable because he was never winning any of those fights.
How long
He
do you
just
gotta
did
fight
something at the
somebody,
end.
bro,
Yeah,
before you realize, hey, this nigga might not be able to feel anything? Like when
yeah,
he picked up the frying pan
yeah.
and, and
There
threw
should have
it at
been.
him,
There were
like
signs. There were
there were
definitely
signs
signs
there.
mid fight, like, "Hey, the person I'm fighting ain't normal. Like
Yeah.
something's wrong." You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like I don't know why, like the torture scene. I don't know
Ah,
how. I don't
ah.
know how he wasn't picking up that like dude was faking it the whole time.
Well,
Like,
he kind of did because he stopped and was like, "What's wrong with
what's
you?"
wrong with you?
But
Yeah,
like that was it. He was just like,
yeah.
"What's wrong with you?" And then just continued to,
To torture him, yeah.
yeah,
But like to me, that's why I'm saying like to me the action scenes to me were very believable. That's why I'm saying I liked how they executed those because at no point in any of those action scenes or any of the fight scenes did you feel like Jack Quaid's character had the upper hand. Nate
yeah.
never had the upper hand in any fight. What he did was he creatively used the fact that I can't feel pain. So I'm going to be able to do something to get the upper hand that you can't do, like stick my hand in oil, like take the bone from my broken hand or broken arm and stick it through your forehead. Like there's just certain things. There's certain things I can do not being able to feel pain that give me an advantage, and I'm going to utilize those. But I'm not a match for the people I'm fighting. Like if I
And
try
I
to
agree.
fight them straight up, I'm gonna
I
get my ass
100%
whooped.
agree with you on that point. Where, like
Yeah.
you said, he used those openings
Yes, and took
to win the
advantage.
fights. You know,
Yeah.
even what the one I liked the best was at the tattoo parlor. He was fighting Buddy.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That wasn't even that didn't even come to the top of my head.
So that's what I said. It's four fight scenes or four action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, technically it's five because you know you got the beginning when he fights the guy in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You got the tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
You got the house with the torturer. Then you
Mm-hmm.
got when he finally meets up with Sherry and Buddy,
Yeah.
and then you got at the end when Simon and him fight again.
Yeah.
And one more thing, and I'm done. I'm done with my gripes.
Okay.
The bald dude that plays Ned in Spider Man.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the actor's name for you right
He
now.
was
Jacob.
so
Jacob Batalone. I might have butchered that, but yeah.
he was so fucking unnecessary.
He definitely was. It was very strong side character vibes
I
for
just feel
sure.
like again, I knew he could have had one real friend. Like he could have
Yeah.
knew one person. Because again, I played a game just because I played a game with you. You called me talking about some yo. I just killed this dude. I need you to
Yeah. It was.
click, nigga. I'm not. No,
To your
absolutely
point of
not.
people not knowing each other long enough or having close enough relationships to be doing what they're doing for each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Like
100%,
yeah,
100%.
that was a constant theme in this movie of these people don't have a strong enough bond for them to be taking it to the extremes they're taking it to help each other out. Nate did not know Sherry. They had been on 2 dates.
And technically, yes, it was 2 dates, but
Yes.
it was in the same day. They went to lunch. And again,
Yeah.
I don't want to,
Yeah.
just throw the word simp around because I feel like it's a lot of red pill niggas out here that they throw that word around a lot.
Yeah.
But because
Red pill is crazy.
I didn't met a young lady, and
Yeah.
I didn't be like, yo, this it, this the one.
Yeah. Yeah.
20 minutes later. But you know what I wasn't gonna do? I wasn't about to fucking start killing niggas for her.
Yeah, that was the extreme. It's like
I'm not. She get kidnapped. I'm calling police.
Yeah.
Even if I'm gonna try and stop it. I'm not about to go on a high speed chase
you're not
because
about to turn into Rambo and try to hunt these people
for
down
somebody
by
I knew
yourself.
for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, not even just on his end, on her end. You turned on you turned on your family for this nigga.
That I ain't gonna lie, that because we haven't even gotten to that part yet of like just the character of Sherry in general.
Terrible.
It was very odd how things played out with her. It was almost like they still wanted that story to mean something in the end, so they tried to give her like a sense of morality, but the character is already you're tied into the main villain because as you find out later on in the film they're related. Spoiler alert, I guess too late for that now, but you find out later on in the film they're related. And of course, you obviously, as you mentioned, like Sherry was in on the heist from the beginning. She was trying to set the bank robbery up from the inside. So for that to have been your intention going in, and now that the mission's been completed, you start to develop some sense of morality or a conscience, and now you're about to turn on your actual blood family. Keep in mind,
well, I think
her,
she was still adopted. I think the story that she told. So I think that was just her adopted brother still.
got it. But either way,
but still, yeah.
To her point, that was going to be the next point I made. Though was like the character, like her Sherry as a character, opens up to Nate, and we can assume she's telling the truth in this part of saying like, I had a very rough upbringing. I was, going from foster home to foster home. I never really had a true family, honestly. And the adopted family I did have, it wasn't a loving home. So, like, if this person is like the one quote unquote family member you have any sort of meaningful attachment or relationship with, I have a hard time believing you're going to throw that away over a dude you went on 2 dates with, even if that family member is a terrible person. Because this is
because
all you got. Technically, this is
and
all
let's
you
be
got.
honest, this is not the first bank that they robbed. So,
No,
and
definitely not.
he killed Buddy so easily. So again,
Yeah,
like it's just I will say again, I'm gonna say this again. Not even just the time thing. I think Nate was the only character that they thought about, and then
yeah,
everybody else was added. Because
I agree.
again, time wise, what would have made more sense if you would have, even if they would have said, "Hey, she's been at this bank for 6 months. They've been dating for 4." Because you start to catch feelings at this point. You're in his home. You're trying to get that code to this
Yeah,
woman.
the
That makes
time's been put
sense.
in. You know what I'm saying? That at least makes sense versus they've gone on 2 dates within the same 24 hours, and
But
now I'm about to just go full blown
yeah,
crash out. You
but
know, it doesn't add up.
nobody was fleshed out. They even
Yeah.
the second date they meet at like a bar slash art gallery.
Yeah.
They
That
meet
was
at
that
bar
was an interesting combination of establishments. I was like, wait, which
and
one is this?
she sells a painting that she has
Yeah,
in this bar slash art gallery. So that's never touched on again that she's an artist. like
yeah. It was like used as a plot point to get them on the date, and then, like you said, never really addressed again.
yeah, they could have been seen. They could have went to go just go to the bar. They could have went to go see a live show, anything. But to make her the artist, and then she sold a piece of art during this. So if she's a good enough artist where she's selling shit and people like her shit, why the fuck are you even?
Yeah, I'm about to say if you're a good enough artist where you're selling your art and that's like a regular occurrence for you, um, I feel like there's other avenues aside from associating yourself with a bank robbery for you to get income. But I mean, hey, I don't know how much artists like traditional artists make. So I can't say that, I can't say their salary is such
She
that
also
robbing
she
a bank
also
is
got
off the
a
table.
she also has a job at a bank.
And she also has a
So
job at a
again,
bank. So,
and again,
hey.
it was just none of this was thought of because again, let's
Yeah.
remember. See, now I'm mad again. I'm mad again. You got a job at a bank using your real identity.
Yes.
Bitch, did you
To
not
help
think?
rob the bank.
Did you not think they was gonna look for you after this?
And then she was just gonna magically disappear. Well, no, she's
Like,
the one that got kidnapped. So the bank, technically, as far as the bank is concerned, she got taken,
but then they
right?
also yes. How much money was in this one bank? Because this
Yeah,
wasn't even like a large bank. This wasn't like a. This was like a
yeah.
what they say like Sunflower Bank of San Francisco, San
It was
Diego.
very localized.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like almost like a fucking credit union. Which again, they had money on them sometimes. But let's be honest, it's a holiday.
yeah,
Niggas ain't really coming in depositing money on holidays.
yeah,
Niggas is taking money out of the bank.
yeah,
So yeah, they're gonna have some money on hand for this day and the next day, but just how much money? And then again, it was 4 of them. You gotta split that shit 4 ways. And then they about to go to the harbor and go to another country on what? They got $20,000. Nigga, you might as well have kept the job at the bank. You would have been better off.
yeah. Yeah, and it definitely for the character of Sherry, I agree. Definitely could have been some adjustments there, just as far as like the way the script portrayed her, and as far as just like generally making sense. But to your point, though, Nate or Novocaine, because that is his nickname, as you find out in the
Which
film.
I'm not gonna lie, I hated it, but it makes sense.
It
Like
makes sense,
that's
so I let it ride. He was, to your point, the only character that was really thought out throughout like this entire film, and everyone else just kind of there to push the story forward in their own way. In terms of the plot needs this character to do X, so they're just going to do X for the sake of pushing the story forward. Which in this context I'm kind of okay with.
in which
There's
way.
situations where I need my side characters to be more fleshed out, and there's situations where I don't. In a situation like this, where the film is a turn your brain off action comedy, I don't really need my characters to be that
Hey,
fleshed
how
out.
about you? How about this though? Don't say comedy.
I mean, right? Because I agree with you. The comedic scenes to me are him doing outlandish things in the fight
Yeah,
to because he can't feel pain. Like
but
that's really the only part where
the
the
fact
comedy
that it
comes
was
in.
so gory takes
Yeah,
away from the comedic value of it.
yeah. It's
Like I
hard to
said,
laugh when Buddy's bone is hanging out of his arm.
yeah,
Like,
because again, I'm not gonna lie. I've watched fucking The Bride of Chucky, which is supposed to be a horror. They don't say horror comedy; they say horror. But The Bride of Chucky is fucking hilarious, bro. It is hilarious. And again, a movie that's supposed to be an action comedy just did not deliver. Like you said,
Yeah.
they were hoping on the how he injures himself to be funny. There was never an outright laugh while I watched this movie.
No,
It
I
may have been
agree.
a
Yeah,
what
a
they
little
say, sensible
chuckle,
chuckle.
but yeah, yeah, but that was
And
really it. No, I agree.
so what character? Because again, I don't feel like again I get Sherry. I get Sherry. I get her pushing the story forward, which it was still stupid. It was still stupid how they did it.
Hmm.
But even the guy that plays Ned, Jacob, I get. I'm okay with it. But why did he think that he had? Oh, because he told him he was real tatted up while the biker in the biker scene.
Yeah,
So okay, that made a little bit of sense. They made okay, but I just again, I'm fine with not all side characters being fleshed out, but
yeah.
none to me.
None of
Again,
them
this
is.
is to
Yeah,
me
I agree.
because again, I've read some of these reviews. People loved it. It gave 8, 9.5 out of 10. When I walked out of the movie theater, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I walked out of the movie theater, I was like, that's a solid 7.3. And it's a nigga right outside the door. And he like you get the brother the brother nod.
The brother, nah, yeah,
He goes, what's up, bro? How you like the movie? It's like, it was all right. He like, I thought it was gonna be more action in it. Because he only know Buddy from the boys,
yeah.
so and he said he actually brought up the comedy thing to me, and I'm like, yo, I forgot this was a comedy.
It was, that was supposed to be that it was billed
Um,
as an action comedy. Yeah,
so I'm gonna shut up now. I'm gonna let you finish. I got one takeaway at the end, but I'm done. I'm gonna
yeah.
shut up. I'm gonna try not
No,
to do my rant today, but
no. You good. Definitely insightful because I think to your point, I agree. It's not good practice to have none of your side characters be fleshed out, right? But like I said, is normally I would require for at least there to be some sort of substance to the other characters in your film. In a situation like this, where it is in action, and I'll use the word comedy in air quotes, or just a general turn your brain off fun action film, that's really what I'm focusing on. Did you deliver on that? And to me, they
yeah,
did. So I'm cool, right? Like I don't need all my characters to be fleshed out if it's a turn my brain off and have fun type of film. Which this is that. This is definitely a turn your brain off and just have a good time. So if that's what you're selling to me, I don't need my side characters to be fleshed out. Just let me turn my brain off and have a good time. And if you accomplish that, cool. This film works for me. And
it's
in
like
this
watching
case,
Fast
I
and
feel like
Furious.
Novocaine accomplished that. Fast and Furious is literally a perfect example of turn your brain off and have a good time. Now, there's a limit to how much I can turn my brain off. If you're telling me this is supposed to take place in the real world, like it ain't like Fast and Furious is like this is science fiction fantasy where there are no rules. No, you're telling me this takes place in human reality, and then I'm watching the most outlandish things that just could never happen in human reality happen scene after scene
It's
after
the
scene
power of
after
family,
scene.
bro.
Like no, that is
Family.
no. There is
No.
a limit to how much I can turn my brain off, and I let Fast and Furious off the hook there. This film gets outlandish at parts, but it doesn't get Fast and Furious outlandish, and they at least have explanations that scientifically in your head you can compute enough to make sense to move past it. Like, oh, we can't feel pain. All right, cool. His hand is all burnt up and his bones hanging out, but he can't feel it. So whatever. Fuck it. We ball. Like that's just kind of what my mindset was in this movie. Like going through it. Like, is it crazy? Yes, but you gave me a reasonable explanation for it. That's good enough for me to turn my brain off and just enjoy the rest. So that's really where I'm at with it. I think you gave it what, a 6.5,
I gave it a 6.5.
a 6.5.
I honestly, I kind of want to drop. I don't feel like it. Honestly, again, like I said, I think the best part about this movie was Jack Quaid. It's Jack Quaid, right?
Yeah, Jack Quaid. Yeah,
Was his acting. Now
he did do a really good job.
he did a really good job, but I still feel like, and again, I think he's generally just a good actor. I think
Mhm.
that's what it is. Again,
He showed that in the boys already. Yeah.
you put Denzel in a movie, and you like, yo, I don't care how good this movie is, he acted his ass off,
Yeah.
and I think he acted so well, and his character was more grounded than the rest of them. Because when you
Hmm.
look at Simon, who was Sherry's brother, the main bad guy, he was just so over the again.
Over the
over the
top
top and
asshole.
cartoony
Over the
that
top asshole for sure.
it didn't make sense that Nate was so honestly, like, he was the realest part of this movie, the most
Yeah.
grounded part of this movie. And maybe his friend, but his friend was just, again, this is a nigga I know online playing the game.
Yeah, like
So
he wasn't that important or
him
really
lying to
doing
him,
much,
like, I don't
honestly.
have a problem with that. But like I said, he was the most grounded, and I feel like maybe he needed a little more direction,
Yeah.
and maybe he needed a little more help for this movie to really be good. Because honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't even want to say it was good. It was an okay movie to me. It was very okay, but it's not the bottom of okay. It's more so the top of okay getting to good. And
Yeah.
again, that's because I'm gonna just recap real quick, and then I'm gonna give my final my final number. The timing of everything, or sorry, the pacing of the movie from the beginning to the end. It was slow down, pick up in certain parts.
Hmm.
Um, the whole storyline with him and Sherry, again, her knowing him a little bit longer would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, agreed.
For him to chase after her the way he did, and for her to trade on her family like that. This Another part is gonna be, my boy, y'all robbing a bank. Why do you think your brother went back to his house? Like,
Like,
and
yeah.
again, we know the reason they want to progress the story. I got it, but you looked up his, you call somebody, you get his uh, last known addresses, but they couldn't give you the place of employment. Again, the place that they was holding Sherry at was Clark and Sons or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And whatever his name was, his last name was Clark. The first guy that died. It was the Clark brothers.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that would have came into
Wasn't
play
very thought
somehow.
out. No, it
Yeah,
wasn't very
so
thought out at parts. Because I thought that too, honestly, when the first bank robber went missing and they were trying to find him. They're like, check his house. I'm like, y'all just robbed a bank. What the hell? Why would his home be the first place you think he's at?
and
Y'all
it was
just
a
got
cop
done
car
robbing a
chasing
bank.
y'all. Y'all thought the police were following y'all.
Yes, like
And
y'all in your heads, the police are still on y'all tail, and you think he went back to his house. Y'all split up because Jack Quaid's character was chasing you, so y'all split up to try to get him away, and so at least some of y'all can make it back to the little safe house area because y'all don't want to lead him back there. Cool. What made you think the other brother went to his house of all the places he could have went? Using on like, yeah, I'm just check his house because obviously he would be there after we just got done robbing a bank and the police are chasing us. No,
why not? Why not go
I'm
to my
with you.
house? Just check it out a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, there were things that just happened strictly for the purposes of we need to push the story forward, and his house is booby trapped, and our main character can't feel pain.
Cause nigga, why is your house booby trapped? That
With some of the wildest booby traps ever, like a crossbow.
a fucking I think it's a flail.
I don't even know what the little spike thing that you twirl
that's a
around.
flail. So
Okay, I don't even know what that weapon is called,
it's
but
the
that's in
head of a
there.
mace on a chain, and it just dropped through, and it dropped in like a very dumbass spot, like the middle of the living room.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, like, how did this nigga arm this stuff? You know what? I'm not even gonna get into the nitty gritty of that shit. I'm gonna talk about my
Definitely a turn
last.
your brain off classic.
I'm gonna talk about my last part. And again, we know I love turn your brain off movies because I like the first two. I don't want to say I like the first Suicide Squad movies, but I enjoyed myself watching it. I
Okay.
like the Fast and Furious movies. I genuinely enjoy the Fast and Furious movies. If you've followed this fucking show since we started, I bring them bitches up a lot. And I will watch Fast and Furious movies until Dominic Toretto is in a fucking nursing home in a wheelchair. And I will continue to watch that shit past that. Because it's so
You're the reason they
stupid.
won't
And
stop making
I
them.
don't care. It's so stupid.
They need
Again,
to stop.
when Expendables came out, niggas was like, "Yo, this is why this is stupid." Again, I think it brings back the
Who's
fun.
niggas? I wanted Expendables. give me all the 80s action heroes in one movie.
So
I was down.
so it comes back to that again. I don't think every movie needs to be Oscar worthy, and I'm gonna take back what I said. This was a good movie, but
Yeah.
there were some things missing from it. The last point I want to talk about is the officers, the two detectives. One, your partner just got shot. She didn't check on that nigga at all.
That just shot, and he's done. But he got shot through his neck.
He,
He's
he,
cooked.
he, he may have survived, but you know what? We not gonna know because she didn't go check on
Yeah,
it
no, that was never addressed.
at
She's like, "You
all.
shot my partner." I was like, "Is he?" I'm assuming he's dead because you just left him there. So I'm assuming, but he's gone.
Yeah. So, you know, and then she leaves with him, go to the thing, then she's like, take him to the hospital. And like the whole thing, just none of that shit. It was just so cartoony. So
Yeah,
again, I think I'm a I don't even honestly I don't want to keep it at a 6.5, but I don't think it's low enough for a six. Um so I'm gonna say 6 1/3.
bro, just now you're being petty. Just do your 6.5, but he gonna go up 0.2 points. Like what the fuck? Like just give it to 6.5. Like that 0.2 didn't make a difference, gang. I promise you it didn't.
But
Um,
again, I really wanted to again. I see. I'm bouncing between it being a good movie and it being an okay movie. I'm gonna stay at okay because
yeah,
I really wanted to enjoy this movie and I simply could not. Like you
it's
said,
because you didn't turn your brain off. You were thinking too much.
listen, maybe I should have been at home watching this shit.
Yeah, you were
It
thinking too
might
much
not have
watching
been.
this.
I don't think this was a box office movie, box office worthy movie. It should. This probably should have been on Netflix. Honestly, if I'd have been home on my
Home
couch
chilling
chilling
watching
watching that
this.
shit,
Yeah,
I probably would have enjoyed it a lot better. To be honest with
yeah, yeah. This is a film you needed to approach with a similar mindset to Fast and Furious. Like, all right, I'm about to just go here, turn my brain off, and just have a good time. And I'm not going to think about like how much what I'm watching on screen actually makes sense. Because once I start doing that, I'm going to enjoy the movie less.
he didn't have any family in this movie though. It's all about come on, bro. It's all about
Damn, he
family,
showed
nigga.
it.
Come on, because
Get a
he
load of this
talked.
guy.
Because I'm mad again. He talked about how his parents kind of locked him down, but he didn't talk about his parents. Like after that, like are they
Yeah, it was
dead?
glossed
Are
over.
they still in his life? Because I would
Yeah,
assume that again they kept him locked down because they were being protective of him.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then like you grow up, you go to college, you get you a job, and they just like, hey, fuck this nigga.
Basically, he's on his
Like
own. He can't feel pain. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. I'm gonna go slightly higher than you. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10.
okay.
Just because it executed on what I needed it to execute on. Can I just sit here, not think, shove popcorn in my face, and have a good time, and just watch some cool action sequences with a character who has a unique, I'll say, ability in this
So
case
what?
or condition?
How
That's
much you
fine
spend at
by
the movie
me.
theater, bro?
How much did I spend?
How much you spend outside of the movie ticket? What you spend?
Mm, probably like 20 total.
Because before I went to the movie, I went to Detroit Wing Company, got me a little 8 piece boneless, some fries, put that bitch in my cargo pocket. Went to the counter. I said, "Hey, can I get a medium cup?" Got me a little slushy.
Got yourself together.
Hey, got me all the way together.
Yeah, I probably need to adopt that strategy next time because AMC is waxing. I ain't gonna say which AMC, but AMC is waxing. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with my 7 out of 10 for sure. I think aside from snitching on ourselves aside, I'm gonna snitching on ourselves aside. I'm gonna give this a 7 because, like I said, it executed on what I needed to execute on. Certain movies I don't need Oscar worthy dialogue or plot, attention to detail on the plot or character development. I just need you to execute on what you're selling me. This is an over the top action film with a character who can't feel pain. So therefore, there are some unique and different things we can do with our action scenes, and we want to show y'all we can do with that kind of character. Cool. I feel like they executed that part of it very well, and they gave me enough of a story behind that to where it helped push the story forward, and they didn't go too over the top with their craziness to where me turning my brain off, I didn't start to go like, oh, hold on now. Now it feels like you're just insulting my intelligence. It didn't get to that level, which I appreciate. So I'm sticking with my 7 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed this. I think Jack Quaid is starting to develop himself as a
Yeah,
leading man now in
I
Hollywood.
enjoy him as an actor, and
Yeah,
he
I'm
is
really starting to like him. He's not going to be like a top tier guy, right? Like I don't think he's going to reach like
right
Timothy
now.
Chalamet
Yes,
levels or anything like that. But I think Jack Quaid is showing us he can carve out a lane for him in Hollywood
but
as a
you
leading man.
know why I think again. I'm be honest with you. I probably would have gave it a 7 too if it would have been funny. But
Yeah,
I don't think. Oh, real quick. I want to give a shout out to Betty Gabriel. She plays the black female detective. She was also in the last season of Jack Reacher. Not Jack Reacher. Wow.
Was it
Tom
Jack
Clancy.
Reacher?
No, it's not Jack Reacher. Jack Reacher is the
Tom
one that's currently out.
Clancy.
It's
Tom
Tom
Clancy.
Clancy. Jack Ryan.
Ryan. You're right.
Um,
I was like, okay, I was like, hold on, what? Tom Clancy. I know which one this is. The one with starring from The Office. That's my
Jim.
man's name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And because I just said all of that, I completely forgot all I was about to say because I talked about the point five in the comedy.
Shout out
And
to the black detective who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was she in Get Out?
she was, I believe,
I knew I recognized her from somewhere.
she was the gardener, I think. Yeah, she was
Yeah,
in
she
Get
was
Out.
one of the housekeepers whose like body had been taken over and was in a sunken place. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I knew I recognized her from somewhere, but it didn't really dawn on me. And then I was like, she was in Get Out. It finally came to me, and the creepy smile with the single tear. Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say about Jack Quaid. I think I don't. Again, like you said, I don't think because he has a really like goofy look to him,
Hmm.
to where he looks like he should be in comedies. Like him being in The Boys makes sense. The Boys is funny.
Yeah,
It's graphic, but it's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
This movie, again, is supposed to be an action comedy. That makes sense. I don't see him being in a like you said, top build and like a fucking mega blockbuster, which I would love to see him because I think he has it, but he has a very goofy look to him.
Hmm.
Even when he's delivering serious lines,
Yeah.
he's really goofy looking.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think I think there's it's a lane. There's a lane for him as a leading man, but it's a niche lane,
Yeah.
right? Like, but there is an avenue for him, and I'm seeing it start to develop now, especially with films like this. I could see him going on, ironically enough, similar to like a Simon Pegg type of a run where you're doing a lot of these like pseudo comedy type of movies that Simon Pegg was kind of like the leading man in for a while. I could
Okay.
kind of see I could see Jack Quaid carving out like a similar
I
lane for himself, at
I
like kind of similar to what Simon Pegg was had going on for a
I'm
while.
gonna agree, but not comedy. Is that what you're saying? But like you're saying, like the type of movies, just kind of.
Those had
I
like the Shaun of the Dead's, what were some other Hot Fuzz, some
see
of those
those
like
were
earlier Simon
funny as
Pegg type
well
of
too,
movies.
though.
Yeah, but they were. I'm not saying he's gonna have the same comedic ability as Simon Pegg because that's Simon Pegg, right? But I'm saying the lanes of like those type of movies that you're not necessarily
Yeah.
supposed to take yourself seriously. I could see
Okay, I got
those.
you. I got you.
That's the lane where I see him like being the leading man in, and like kind of similar, like I said, like that Simon Pegg lane. Not to say his films are going to be of the same quality as Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead, but like those type of films are what I kind of see out of Jack Quaid going forward. But yeah, if you don't got nothing else,
No,
that has been our review of
I'm
Novocaine.
good, man. I
Yeah,
am
that has been
good.
our review. Always continue to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. And until next time, it's the Film Junkies. Yes, we changed the name. Peace.